Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate everybody for tapping in with us tonight, man. Tonight we have a very, very special guest. Oh my goodness, man. If you was tapped in with the New York City basketball scene, then it's fair to say that you definitely gonna know who this guy is. Part of a legendary family, you know what I'm saying, of basketball minds and coaches. This dude, you know what I'm saying, been around the block a couple times, spent the block and then some. Coached some of the best ballers in New York City history. It's none other than Tony Rosa. You already know. But you know what I'm saying? I'm so humble, I'm so appreciative that Tony would give me this opportunity to, you know what I'm saying, to kick it with him and to chop it up. And you know what I'm saying? And you know what I'm saying, with no further ado, thank y'all for joining Legends Talk. Y'all here. Y'all could be anywhere, but y'all here with me. Appreciate it. Let's get it rocking and rolling. My God, Tony Rosa, everybody. Tony Rosa, what's up, man?
What's good, kid? How are you, Kyle?
I'm all right, man. I'm excited. I'm excited, man. Ready to jump into this and you know what I'm saying, and just embrace everything that's come with, man.
I'm
How you
excited
feeling
to be
tonight?
here. I'm
You
very
all right?
excited to be here. Yes.
I appreciate you, man. First and foremost, man. Everybody, Tony don't do this thing often, man. So I'm very humble. I'm very appreciative that you took the time out of your day to come to Legends Talk, man. You're a true legend in every sense of the word, and I appreciate you for joining us, man. For real.
I appreciate you having me.
Uh,
It's been a while, you know. I know you've been looking for me. But I'm
hey.
very selective. I'm very selective with what I do, who I'm doing it with. It's very important that you market yourself in this manner.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. But yeah, man, we're gonna jump in there. We're gonna jump right in, man. For all of the basketball lovers out there, man. You know what I'm saying? This guy's part of a legendary family, man. Shout out to Rock Rosa. Shout out to Tony Rosa, man. The Mustangs DNA.
That's right.
If you guys been around, if you've been a player, if you've been, you know what I'm saying, if you've been a fan of the game, you definitely know what these guys have brought to the table, man. And again, I'm honored today to be able to just to speak with you. You know, but first and foremost, where you from, man? Where did your story begin? Where you from? And
Harlem all day. I'm Puerto Rican from Harlem all
yes,
day.
sir.
I'm from the Drew Hamilton projects.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
grew
And
up.
that's made famous by the you know, y'all people might know the Drew Hamilton houses. The dude had the lions and the tigers
Oh
in the
yeah,
hood.
we were in the gym that day in Little East. Um, we were at St. Charles. We were having our Little East tournament, and we hearing hoopla. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And the dude lived right down the block. We would see him in the neighborhood all the time. You know what I mean? But that was crazy. That was a
yeah,
crazy day.
that's crazy. But yeah, man. So yeah, shout out to Harlem. I'm also Harlem. You know, Harlem. You know, from East. I'm from East Harlem. So,
Hmm.
and I spent a little time on the West Side as well. Actually, across the street from Drew Hamilton.
Okay.
But yeah, that's neither here nor there. But how did growing up in Harlem, you know, how did that environment kind of help shape you and your approach to the game?
All right. I'm gonna say this. When I was a kid, there was there was a few gangs in the neighborhood. A lot of things was happening in that neighborhood. And I was little and I was seeing a lot at a young age. You know what I mean? Um, but it was real stuff I was seeing. You know what I mean? Junkies in the stairs shooting up. you know, gang activity.
Right.
There was this one particular family who I adore. No one knows them, you know. They were the Martinez family. And these guys got it in with these. You understand?
Right.
The Martinez family, they loved us. They loved the Rosa family. We were young, and you know, we saw them whipping a lot of ass in that neighborhood. But shout out to them, man.
Definitely, man. Now, like, did you, early on in your childhood, did you actually play ball? Like, how did you gain that love for the
But
for the
yeah,
game?
I was the kid who brought the shovel out
Mm,
and cleaned up the snow, and nobody was out there. You understand? Like with a ball called the Voight that I got for Christmas one year when I was very young. You know what I mean? There was two baskets in Drew Hamilton. There was they were against the firehouse, but they were next to each other. It wasn't like a full court. And on the left side, there was a basket where regular dudes play. But on the
mm,
right side, all the best ballers played. And so as a kid, I was mesmerized. You understand? Like I would watch the older guys. I was watching, seeing who's who. And it was crazy. But I loved sports from the beginning. My oldest brother Pablo, may he rest in peace. We just lost him in May. So
right,
Pablo was our baseball manager. And Pablo, the way he taught us the game, it was so intense. We practiced all the time. And like sometimes I see a Major League Baseball game today, and the runner gets into a rundown, and the runner gets back to the base, which is not supposed to happen.
right.
We as kids, the way Pablo taught us, you wasn't getting back. Once we got you between second and third, or between third and home, you wasn't getting back to third or home. You understand?
It
Because
was over.
Pablo was a great coach. And so, you know, I'm glad that you asked that, because I get to plug in my dear brother who we just lost.
God bless, man, for sure, man. Um, Now take me to the beginning of the Mustangs.
Okay. All
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like how did y'all set that off? You know what I'm saying? When did that start, and how did that, how y'all set that off?
I got you. It's the early 80s. There's so much stuff that I have to skip little
Yeah.
parts. But in the very beginning, we jumped into Holcomb Rucker. Somebody handed me a Rasta. We jumped into Holcomb Rucker, and and Holcomb Rucker was the best. So the games were on 145th and at Millbank. And so, well, actually, the games were at Mount Morris Park at that time.
Mm,
And so, um, the very beginning, the first team I had a bunch of ringers. I had kids who we would hang out in the neighborhood, but I picked out the ones with the baby faces. You understand? Like the guys who look too old, I didn't put on the team. But I
right.
had a couple of baby face kids, and we were rolling through the tour. We were blowing everybody out. And you know, people were like, who's this new team blowing everybody out? But Rocky, my brother, was the only kid, and a kid named Eric Thomas. They were the only two kids on the team who were the right age. And Rocky was 10, and Eric Thomas was 12. And so, you know, we 5-0, and and we had this left-hand kid named Coley Williams. So I'm trying to get them to not show that we ringing. But Coley Williams goes to the basket left-handed. He lays the ball up and starts dribbling the backboard. You know what I'm saying? And somebody out of the audience is like, I know him. He goes to Harron, or he goes to Hughes. Talking about high school.
Right.
And so we wound up getting busted. Uh, um, you know, I like to shout out certain people. Um, Lamar Dyson had the Sun Devils. Okay.
Mm,
Lamar had like all the best little guards and midgets, 14 and under. He had little Mikey, Tip Dog, and Tony Childs. And then biddies, 12 and under, he had a kid named Skeeter, Mark Lake. Mark Lake was interviewed against us in the Channel 4, and Marv Albert interviewed Skeeter back.
Wow.
And then I also like to shout out Tommy Swinton, who's one of my favorites. I just think that too many times people don't get the credit that they're due. And what we were doing back then, we had T.S. Bucks, Tommy Swinton, we had Sun Devils, Lamar Dyson, we had Young Life, Thurman Player, Gauchos, Dave Jones, and Dave McCollin had the older guys. And Mustangs, that's us. We had this Puerto Rican guy right here that nobody knew where the hell we came from. You understand? We got busted, and then we were suspended for a year. So the following year, I took Yoda. I don't know if you know Yoda, but Yoda was one of the very best guards at that time. I took Yoda, and I took Rocky, my brother, and Charlie Rock, who may he rest in peace, who died young. You know what I'm saying? I took them three over to PAL, and I had them playing. It was 12 and under, but Sun Devils had two teams. I had them on the 11 and under team playing for a dude named Footy. And Footy was like a young dude, and they didn't win any games, but all of them got better that year. By the next summer, there was something to be reckoned with. Bucks had a hell of a squad. They'll be surprised.
What year was this?
This was 82. It was around 82. T.S. Bucks had a kid named Yoda. Tommy got Yoda from me. Goody is Billy Goodwin's little brother. They had a kid named Mike Lewis. They had a squad. And so, but those were the beginning days.
Right. That's where you guys established the foundation of what was to come. And everybody, man, I gotta add this, that you know what I'm saying, the foundation of this platform, man, is to really give guys like Tony Rosa their flowers, man. You know what I'm saying? So there are countless people out there that have put in their blood, sweat, and tears into this game.
Yes.
And you, my man, you know what I'm saying, you have put in your work. We're gonna get into a little bit, a little further your history. Right. But you know what I'm saying, you and your family have put in a tremendous amount of work, man, and it's only right that we salute you. You know what I'm saying? We salute you, your family, for putting in that work, man, and that's why we're here. So you know what I'm saying?
Trust
definitely
me, I'm grateful.
Flowers.
Very grateful. Thank you.
But now, like you mentioned how you guys got started. I'm gonna fast forward to when you guys started like coaching. You know what I'm saying? Little East.
Okay.
How did you guys develop that whole concept? How did that come about? And tell me a little bit more about Little East.
We're coming from a game. We're walking towards St. Charles, and it's Teddy Wheeler. Teddy Wheeler is the father of Xavier Wheeler, who played for Kentucky. Teddy Wheeler, his brother Bernard, who was a killer. A kid named Malik Freak Copeland from Brooklyn, right? Tony Resto. Tony Resto is the guy who, he was Sugar Hill. I was helping Tone with Sugar Hill. You understand? But we walking and we're talking, and we just came up with the idea of having our own league. We were always going around playing all these squads, and we were holding our own with everybody. But we decided to have an in-house league. And our in-house league is probably the best in-house league anybody's ever seen. We had kids like Sham God, we had Shaheen Holloway, the coach at Seton Hall. We had Steve McDowell, who was a killer. I mentioned Bernard Wheeler. We had Tony Resto, who was a killer. He averaged like 40 a game our very first season. Shandu McNeil. I say that in New York or around the country, if if somebody wants a player from New York at a university, the first phone call they would make is Terrence Munch Williams. That would be their first phone call, PSA Cardinals. Second phone call would be, yes, Munch is my dude. Second phone call would be Shandu McNeil and Dana Dingle. Okay, that would be the second phone call, even before the high school coaches. Okay, so that's like an a tap on the back to AAU basketball. Because I'm telling you, those would be the first two phone calls. Shandu McNeil was from Far Rockaway, and Shan was a bad boy. Okay, first we had a kid named Marquis Pilgrim. This is the way God works. God is pretty awesome. Yoda and Marquis Pilgrim are brothers, right? So Yoda was the baddest little kid in Harlem. Okay, Tommy got him from me when he turned 12. He was on that team that I was telling you about. Right. Tommy got him from him. So I'm like, oh man, what we gonna do? Blah, blah, blah. Lord sends me Danny Tirado. Danny Tirado is from the Fordham section of the Bronx. Danny Tirado landed on my lap as a 12-year-old. We went up to Citywide. The tournaments back then were Citywide and Rucker, or Holcomb Rucker.
Yeah.
And so
Junior Rucker.
Yeah, Danny Tirado was Puerto Rican. To this day, I feel he's the best Puerto Rican guard we've ever seen. Kenny Anderson. If I'm to run into Kenny Anderson, the first person, he won't ask me about Rocky. He won't ask me about my family. He'll ask me about Danny Tirado. That's how good Danny Tirado was. Just like we have a kid, Paul Little, who there's a gentleman named Artie Cox who has coached many years at Christ the King. Artie Cox is responsible for players like Eric Barkley, Lamar Odom, Ron Artest. Like these are Artie Cox guys. Me and him got together, and so I had the 12 and under team, and he had the 11 and under team, and then we helped each other. You understand? Right. So the 11 under team, Eric Barkley was on that team. 12 and under team, Shaheem Holloway was on that team. So Eric Barkley, just like Kenny Anderson with Danny, if I run into Eric Barkley somewhere, he's gonna ask me for Paul Little. Okay, Paul Little was a bad little man. You understand? Shout out to him. Him and Randy King, another incredible little guard that I had back in the day. Okay.
That's tough.
But go ahead. I go on and on.
These are all legendary cats here that we're talking about, man. Now we're talking about when they was young.
Bernard, Pee Wee, Rock, Steve McDowell. These guys were killers. Okay, but go on. I could go on and on.
I know. And this is your story, man. But in terms of
game, I have a game I would love to mention.
Yeah.
Dave Jones, Gauchos. He said, Tone, you should come up to this tournament we in, called Little Lads. It is in Trenton, New Jersey. So we never traveled. We were strictly local. So right. Dave Jones is inviting. He's telling me, yo, you should come to this league. They won it like 2 years in a row, Gauchos, right? So he goes, so I go, all right, give me the information. We, in my mind, I'm like, damn, he inviting me. That means he knows he's gonna beat us. You know what I mean? But we go anyway, and we got Shandu McNeil. We got Deron Rippey. Deron Rippey, his son, Deron Rippey Jr., he goes to Blair Academy. He's known as one of the best sophomores in the country. We had him 9 and under, we had him 11 and under, and we had him 14 and under. Anyway, Deron Rippey Jr. is one of the very best players in the country. He goes to Blair Academy, and he's down with USA Basketball. So now we up in Little Lads. We playing Friday night, we win. Now it's Saturday. We got a couple of games on Saturday. We wind up in the semifinals. Who do we see? Dave Jones and the Gauchos. Dave Jones has Jerry McCullough, who was the killer back then, right? Jerry McCullough. and he has Damon Santiago. He got kids like Sherman Jones. He got Greg Wilkerson. He had a squad. They had won twice in a row. But we were getting better, and we added on Deron Rippey, my man Jermaine Johnson, may he rest in peace, Mito. We had Tony Resto. We had Teddy and Bernard. We had some guys on this particular team. So now the game started. Ref throws the ball up, and the fans fell in love with us. We were smaller. Damon was such a killer. I'm pretty sure the fans thought he was ringing, but he wasn't. So the game is nip and tuck all the way, and Shandu McNeil is my point guard. Shandu McNeil, he's 2 years younger than Jerry. Jerry was their point guard, and Shandu was playing a phenomenal game, just setting everybody up, hitting the jump shot. And so now we find a way to get a 3-point lead with 13 seconds to go. Yeah. And so I'm telling my kids, yo, you're all on the 3-point line. Let them go to the basket. But we on the 3-point line. Jerry McCullough brings the ball up, and he decides to pull up from like 10 feet behind the 3-point line. Knocks it down, sends the game into
before Steph Curry.
Yeah. Knocks it down, sends the game into overtime, and they beat us in the overtime. Game's over. We hurt. We go to McDonald's. Who do we run into in McDonald's? Gary Charles. Gary Charles had the older. He had a team in the older division. So when we walk in, we were a real small team. But we walk into that McDonald's, and Gary Charles sees us because they were watching the game. The whole audience was for us.
Right.
And Gary Charles started clapping. His team started clapping. There's some crazy stuff. You know what I mean? We knew to this, and we won people over on that day. But
man,
I just wanted to share that with you. Shout out to Shan. Shout out to Rippey and Deron Rippey Jr. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Definitely shout out to those guys, especially Shandu. Shandu's my guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He's doing good things out there in the basketball community.
Long Island Lightning.
Long Island Lightning, word. But Ramel Lloyd tapped in real quick. He said Paul and Randy, Harlem legend.
Oh man, Ramel Lloyd is a Harlem legend too. Rock Lloyd. He went to Long Beach State, I believe. Rock Lloyd was a killer. He played with me in 55th. And Rock Lloyd, they were calling him Body Rock up in 55th. He was tearing the rim down. Okay, so he's a legend himself. But I love the way he points out Randy and Paul being legends. Randy and Paul were small. One citywide game, real quick. We're playing Riverside. And they're about seniors now. Juniors are seniors now. So little Paul on the fast break, you know how it's a 2-on-1, one defender. You know how you throw the ball behind your back, but swing it back to yourself and lay the ball up.
Yeah.
Little Paul threw the ball behind his back, but up in the air, caught it, laid it, dribbled the backboard. I wanted to call timeout for Riverside. You know what I'm saying? That's little Paul Little. That was a bad little dude.
Hey, you know, one thing that I need to add, man, like one thing about you, man, is that you took on, it was like almost like a David and Goliath kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You were David every time, man. You know what I'm saying?
We were giant killers.
Yeah, we
were giant killers.
BBC and all of that. You took on the best with no fear and slayed the dragon out there, man.
Yeah. TS Bucks, Tommy Swinton. Their team was chiseled 1 through 12. You understand? Like their squad was loaded. They had Jerry McCullough, they had Greg Wilkerson, they had Book Richardson, right?
Yeah.
Book Richardson was down with them. But they were chiseled, and we were younger than them, and yet we it wasn't TS Bucks against Riverside or the Gauchos in the championship. Young Life came right after. Thurman Player, give him his props.
Right.
They came right after. They were chiseled 1 to 12. It was something called small fry basketball. Small fry was the hoops are down, the hoops are low, the kids are 5'1" and shorter.
Right.
If you measure out, you measure out. Once you turn 5'2" or a little over 5'1", you can't play. There was like a measuring board and everything. But that, what we were doing back then, these games, because the kids were so small, it was a fast game. So a guy like Thurman would have Kareem Reed. He'll have Skip. He would have I could go on and on, the guys that he had. And we had our crew. There was one particular game in at Salem. Thurman mentioned it in an interview, but I'm gonna go into it when I finish my book. Okay, I'm not giving that away.
Thought you was about to go into it right now.
I got lots of stories, but some of them I'm not giving away because I need it for the book.
Hey man, everybody go get this book when it come out too.
But we were like between me, Dave Jones, Thurman, who else was there? Ray Diaz. Ray Diaz was coaching PAL. Ray Diaz was in the loop too. Like all of us had really, really good teams. And we would just go at, those were the days. You ask any of those guys from back then, those were the days.
Yeah, man. That definitely those tournaments that you mentioned, citywide, even the housing tournament.
Boys of yesteryear.
Oh man. Small fry. Oh man.
Small fry basketball is crazy. We wound up going to Chicago, us and Young Life. We wound up going to Chicago. We finished third in the country. You know, and that was our first, that was before that trip to Little Lads. So that was our first experience, but it was 12 and under. Little Lads was 13 and under.
Now, Tone, like you coach all levels of talent, right? You know, age ranges, even coach girls. You know what I'm saying? So
Rocky's the girls coach, man.
I'm just talking about the Mustangs, right?
Rocky had me coach their girls for one game.
A couple times.
We won the game. I had Renika Reza. I forgot who I had. Eluse, a very dear friend of mine. We won the game, but I told Rocky, this is not for me, Rock. It's your thing.
Right.
I'm not messing with that.
But like in terms of the age brackets that you coach, you coach the kids. Shout out to my man Ron on the check-in.
Ron Soufront, that's my man. His son Xavier.
Yeah, shout out.
He's 10. Xavier Soufront is a problem. Okay. We got a couple of little kids in our program that are problematic, and Xavier Soufront is one of the very main ones. He's 10 years old. He can go. He defends. He can shoot. I wanted to shout Xavier Soufront now. We have a 12-year-old, Tristan Chin. I love his makeup. He reminds me like of a little Andre Barrett. You understand? I just pray that he grows, because everything else, the intangibles that he has, everything's there. Shout out to him and his father and his mom.
Yeah. Artie Green came in. He checked in real quick as well.
Yeah, I see. That's my man, Artie Green. We had wars.
But in terms of the levels that you enjoy the most, and what's the main difference in coaching? You know, say the young kids from the older kids, just for
it is all fun, but the little guys were special. Little East, the first 4 years of Little East basketball were incredible. What I did was we would hold the draft, and I definitely want to talk about Little East a little bit. We would hold a draft, and so You know, we would have like 6 teams. We put the names of Big East schools on the back of the jersey, back of the shirt. Back then it was just shirts. We had Providence, we had Villanova, we had Georgetown, we had St. John's, we had Syracuse. So the kids loved it. And our kids were fighting TS Bucks. We were fighting Young Life. And our kids would not back down. Ask them. Our kids would never back down. You understand? And we eventually were able to beat them in a few tournaments. But what we had going on, let's say it was playoff time. So I would tell both teams, you don't run out until I announce your name. So I'm going to talk about you. And what I would do, I would run down their stats for the year. Tony Rosa, 40 points per game, 7 rebounds per game, 3 assists per game. And at the end, Tony Rosa, and everybody would go crazy. All the playoff games and the championship games were packed. The building was packed. You know what I mean? And so the first 4 years were incredible.
Now you coach a lot of people, man. And already, you know, the list that you've already mentioned, you know, you probably already ran off maybe 30, 40 people just now.
I ain't even get started yet.
Yeah, exactly. Like I know that you coach a lot of elite players, right? The list is so long that you're probably gonna forget somebody. But who are some of the notable players that you had the opportunity to coach that that people will recognize?
I don't want to forget him, but so I'm gonna start with him. And that's the late Dave Edwards. People have no idea that I had Dave as a 12-year-old.
Wow.
And we played in a tournament called Stone Gym, right? Stone Gym was one of the very best tournaments in the city. So Dave Edwards is from Queens. I went and coached at Riverside for 6 months. That's how I got Dave. I didn't know Dave existed till he walked through the door with his headphones on, you know what I mean? Music pumping. And I'm like, who is this kid? And Dave was loyal. Dave died during COVID. One of the first guys to go during COVID. May rest in peace. I love him dearly. Dave was the kid. He was my best player. And you remember those rotary phones way back in the day before cell phones?
Yeah.
Back in those days, our parents just bought like our very first phone as a family. You understand? And Dave Edwards used to call the house. When he would call, everybody would say, the phone's just ringing. Nobody knows who it is, but everybody would say, Tone, is Dave. You understand? And I just found that so incredible. Here's a 12-year-old kid. He got great talent, but he's the one who calls me all the time. He just want to talk basketball. And Dave, we had a game in Stone Gym, and Dave was going off. And the person keeping the score was going, he got 40. He got 50. Dave finished with 81 points, a Stone Gym record as a 12-year-old. And Dave had like a smile that lights up the room. You understand? So I didn't want to forget Dave. We lost him. We miss him. He was just such a joy, you know. One of the best. Dave went to Georgetown playing for John Thompson. Then he transferred to Texas A&M after 2 years. But Dave was that dude. Dave averaged 40 points per game at Jackson High School in Queens. Wow. That's my man. But, you know, I didn't want to forget Dave.
No, absolutely.
I coached Ali Moe. Moe, another one who passed. I had Ali Moe as a 9-year-old. There's pictures where I'm taller than Ali Moe. Ali Moe wound up being like 6'7", but he was a 9-year-old for me. And then when he turned 10 years old, I remember we were playing in the tournament that Lamar Dyson was running, and we won the championship, and Al won MVP, and the MVP was bigger than Al.
Wow.
So we had to help him home with the trophy. But Ali Mo is one of the all-time greats. Everybody knows it. I have a million stories about Al. Okay, but let me move on. A Butter.
A Butter.
A Butter did something that people hate him for. Okay, I'm gonna keep it real.
Gotta keep it a
Um,
buck.
we were playing at City College, my high school team, and I just picked up A Butter, and we're playing against Artie Green. Artie Green got Dre Barrett and Kenny Satt. He had them since they were babies, right? So I'm upset because a whole hour goes by and they're waiting for them. So, but I still say, yeah, we'll wait for them. And then Dre Barrett shows up first. He's up in the bleachers. I have a little conversation with him. But these two guys were going to be McDonald's All-Americans. And on that day, the game starts. Barrett hits a 3. Satterfield hits a 3. Barrett 3. Satterfield 3. Barrett 3. Timeout. 15-5. My kids come off the court. I got A Butter. I got my nephew Kev, right? I got Elijah Muldrow, one of the best players I've ever coached. I got Chris McCray. I think I had Chris McCray, or he could have played with them because he played with the Ravens too. But anyway, 15-5. And they're laughing running off the court.
Yeah.
Artie Green's over there laughing. And I got so angry, I flipped on my team so hard. And this was the first tournament that Adrian played with us. And Adrian started going the hell off at City College. I'm like, damn, this kid is a man. He was only like 16, maybe 17. But A Butter's going the hell off. And the game, men's, we win the championship. That was a championship game. We beat them in the championship. And so I'm looking at them. I'm like, y'all coming with me uptown. We got a game tonight in 55th against the men. And so I took about 5 of them with me. And A Butter, in the first half of that very first game at 55th, A's going off. And we were down a lot of halftime, so half the audience left. We're playing against Mookie Thomas from Brooklyn. And so A's going the hell off. So the announcer started calling them whole lot of game. And so in the very first year, we win that night. We win 5 games in a row. And then now we're going to face Vince Carter. And everybody knows about that game. A went the hell off. Vince went the hell off. You know, they went back and forth. But what always standed out to me was when Vince walked into the gym, the game had already started.
Right.
And the Gauchos gym was super packed. It was illegal how many people was in that building. And when Vince walks in, all the fans are going crazy. Oh shit, Vince is here. Blah blah blah. And Adrian, it was people in front of us. And Adrian, you know how Gaucho's gym is. We were in Gaucho's gym. The seating, the people were in front of us, and me and Adrian was by the seating. Adrian grabs my arm and he tells me, "Let me guard him." That always intrigued me. I always said, how did he have the foresight? How do you have the foresight to know, like, I want to guard him and I'm going to make my name. I'm going to build my name. nobody asks you, I want to guard the rookie of the year. And A Butter was able to do that. But anyway, Adrian,
That's crazy.
yeah, Adrian,
Yeah, his heart is big as hell.
yeah, no, that was incredible. And we wound up going to the playoffs, and we lost to the very same team without Vince Carter. They had a real strong team. They were called Black Hand. And so the next year we lost that first year. Now we're going into the second year, and we wind up going to the championship. Lost the championship to Posse. Posse, that was their second straight chip. And then the third year we go back and we beat the Posse in the championship. I never seen so many broken trophies like the ones that the Posse was breaking their second place trophies that year. But that's another story. But A Butter did something that most people kind of, till this day, I think people are jealous of him. He became a rock star in Harlem. A Butter became a rock star. A lot of these dudes that are great players, never reached that status to where they looked at as rock stars. Some guys were on good teams. Well, the teams were loaded. Most of the teams were loaded. We were just a crew. We had Lamont and Charles Jones. Lamont and Charles are superstars. Okay. They don't, to this day, they don't get the credit that they deserve. Okay. Lamont and Charles Jones. Charles was the nation's leading scorer 2 years in a row at LIU. Everybody knew Charles. Lamont, I didn't know he existed.
Tell us about Lamont Jones, because there's a lot of people out there that, like you said, they know Charles, but his brother was a dog. You know what I'm saying? And he was even probably to a lot of people, he was even more of a dog than Charles. But tell me a little bit about Lamont.
You know who really appreciates Lamont? Brooklyn. Okay. All the cats that play in Brooklyn, they know who Lamont Jones was.
Right.
Okay. Harlem, we a little, like they say, we flamboyant.
Right.
The Bronx is gritty. But Lamont Jones, the players respect the hell out of him. They respect him so much that they don't want to mention him. That's a jewel right there.
That is.
So much that they don't want to mention him. Lamont Jones, we beat teams with great point guards. One in particular was we played against who did we play? We played against a team from Queens, Skip, Mark Jackson from the NBA. And Mark was strong, and he probably was still in the NBA. Mark Jackson, his brother Escalade, may he rest in peace. They had Showtime, and they had special effects, Ryan Williams. Okay. And we had lost the week before. And so we opened the season with a loss because Greg Marius, may he rest in peace. Greg called me and said, Tone, I need a favor. I'm like, what, Greg? What? We about to go on in 2 hours. I need you to take T.O., Terrell Owens. He wanted me to have Terrell Owens on my team. I'm like, Greg, we just lost the chip last year. We need to win today. You understand? We don't need to do favors. You understand? So I didn't want T.O. And T.O. was one of my favorite football players. And most of the audience, it was young in his career. Most of the audience didn't really know him like that. But I knew exactly who he was. So here comes T.O. with his own camera crew, which I can't stand. You understand? T.O. shows up with his own camera crew, and I'm looking at him like, I don't even know I'm gonna get you in the game. You know what I mean? we were serious about what we were doing. We needed to win the chip. We just lost the chip. And so T.O., I put him in for like 3 minutes in the first half, and that was it. Second half came. I just couldn't get past that he brought his own camera crew with him. You understand what I say? I'm like, yo, that's not us. We gully for real.
Right.
But then the second game came, and we lost that game. So I blame Greg for that. May he rest in peace. I love Greg Marius, man.
God bless him. God bless his soul.
So the next game we playing Mark Jackson, we playing Skip, we playing Escalade, may he rest in peace. Ryan Williams and Showtime. And we gotta win. And without Lamont Jones, we don't win those games. Like Lamont Jones matched or outplayed everybody who everybody talks about, but nobody talks about Lamont Jones. Brooklyn loves him, and the Rosa family loves the hell out of him. Washington Heights loves Lamont Jones. All the Dominicans, they love Lamont Jones.
He got a picture. He got a picture that he's going head up with Stephon Marbury, and they both face to face, and yo, that picture just speaks so heavily to the character of Lamont Jones. And
that might be the best picture I've ever seen.
Fact.
I love that picture. He's in his face. Steph's there too. You know what I'm saying? They looking at each other.
No disrespect to Starbury, you know what I mean? Because
they grilling each other, but Lamont instigated that. Lamont was a thug on the court. I remember we were playing against Master P, and I'm hearing these rumors about Master P is getting an NBA tryout, blah blah blah. Money gets you those things.
Right.
And now we playing them in 55th, and I'm angry at Master P. I'm like, he ain't no NBA player. You know what I'm saying? They put him to guard Lamont Jones. I caught 5 straight clear outs. Lamont punished his ass. Okay? Lamont Jones is a king. Okay? Lamont and Charles, they're kings. Trust me when I tell you that.
And the list goes on, man. We got Antifreeze, Antoine Doby,
Antifreeze, Richie Parker brought me Antifreeze. Richie Parker said, "Yo, Tone, he nice." Antifreeze was a freshman at LIU. Antifreeze played for Artie Cox at McClancy High School. Antifreeze, Artie was telling me about. Artie Cox was telling me about Antifreeze. Artie Cox is a name that never comes up. White man. One of my best friends in the world. Hell of a coach. We did work together for Aim High. Supposed to be Kenny Smith's program.
Right.
But we were winning. Vincent Smith and the older guys, they weren't winning. But we had Shaheen Holloway. We had Eric Barkley. We were winning. You understand? We beat Gauchos, won great championship at Holcomb Rucker. Gauchos had Gary Saunders, who's my man. I love Gary. G-Dogs is that dude, right? They had Gary Saunders. They had Scientific Map. They Dave Jones was the coach, and Dave Jones is a great coach. Right. And we had Shaheen Holloway, and we had Steve McDowell. We had a crew too, but not, no one really knew who we were. Like we never got our props. But you ask those coaches, they'll give us our props in a minute.
Right.
But when it comes to these interviews, we are sort of like Lamont Jones. You understand? Dudes ain't mentioning Lamont Jones because Lamont Jones was killing them dudes. You understand? Everybody want to call themselves a legend, and there's like, you can't be a legend if we beat you 9 times and you beat us never. You understand? Like, easy with that legend talk.
The proof is in the pudding, right?
Yeah.
You got You got the Ron Rippey actually tapped in. Coach
I'm seeing
Tony,
it.
love you. Rockin' Shea Glover, my first road trip AAU little lad, snuck out the house for the weekend. We lost to the Chos and I made the all tournament team. I got the whipping of my life. Salute to Ron Rippey.
Ron, I mean Rip, I love you, Rip. Rip was something else. Rip was tearing the rim down. Uh, um, as he got older and he played in college. Uh, uh, um, Rip Rip is doing an outstanding job. Him and his wife, they're doing an outstanding job guiding his son Deron Rippey Jr. And his daughter Danae. They both top players, but Ron is might be one of the best sophomores in the country. He's on that rim. He's playing with that rim now. You know what I mean? Well, he works very hard. You understand? Like that's why I got to give Rip all the credit. Ron is always in the gym. Ron is always working on his craft. That's why a lot of people name certain dudes, and it's like I told Rip a long time ago, I'm not worried about Ron at all. We're going to be reading and talking about Ron.
Right,
He's a
right.
Mustang. These guys are true Mustangs.
Hey, once a Mustang, always a Mustang, man. That's the
Mustang DNA, baby.
that's a fact.
I'm plugging La Hencia for my man, Joel Araujo. Shout out to Joel.
La
That's my man.
Hencia.
He's doing big things with baseball. And he wants to plug me in with the basketball side of it. So big things are coming.
Okay. So now, man, we kind of touched on it. You know what I'm saying? You talked about 55th a little bit. Now I want to get right down to it, man. When people think about 55th, they see Fat Joe as being one of those guys who was winning championship after championship over there. And
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about when you faced him in the championship. Like I said, man, you was a giant slayer, and
Yeah.
at that game, what was your approach to that game? And you know what I'm saying, and talk about a little bit about like during the game, what the emotions were like.
I'm gonna give you a real one right here. We playing Joe, right? During the regular season, we was both like 3-0. And so we're playing them outside, and then it rained, and we had to go into gauchos. And so Joe, we beat them. They had Kerry Thompson. They had another Showtime who was a killer. His name was Corey Williams, just like Homicide. Prayers to Homicide. Everybody should be praying for Homicide.
Right.
Okay, love Homicide. Okay, but he had Stephon Marbury. He had Junie Saunders. Junie Saunders,
GE.
I think he's a little like Lamont, and that people don't mention him because he killed them. You understand? Junie Saunders is one of the best opponents I ever coached against. Left-handed, killer, hits the backboard all day long, gets to the basket anytime he wants to, and does it with a swag. You know what I'm saying? But we beat them. So the game's over. Fat Joe doesn't know who I am. He's like, how we lose to them? He was real angry. So Gordo, a friend of ours, Gordo from the neighborhood, he's Juan's cousin. I don't know if you know OG Juan,
Shout out to
from
OG One.
from
Rockefeller.
Rockefeller, exactly. So
Rock
Gordo, he knows Gordo. So I hear him say to Gordo, this is a true story. We're gonna beat them by 30 the next time. And when he said that to Gordo, and I heard it, I'm in earshot. I think he wanted me to hear it. I said, okay, got him right where we want him. You understand? He's angry. We see them in the semifinals. Joe still, he doesn't know me, but he's knowing me a little bit more. And And so we ready for them. We drive into the parking lot blasting salsa. You know what I'm saying? We ready for Joe and them. Joe's Boricua like me. You understand? So it was intense. Like we looking at Joe like with attitude. At that time, we still don't know Joe like that. We know of him, but he definitely didn't know us. One of the greatest games in 55th history was the semifinal when we beat Joe when Kerry Thompson hits the half court shot, and Joe takes off his shirt and starts running around the court with the belt, with the EBC belt, Hannibal's belt. Shout out to Hannibal, the most electrifying. But Joe, we beat Joe, and it was a double overtime game, and that's the game that I stopped because there was some sort of 24-second violation, and we got possession, and then Joe went to the scorer's table, started dissing these dudes. They were scared of him at the moment, and so they gave them the ball back. I took my team. We went for the exit. We were out. You understand? Like, we didn't care. I didn't care. You know what I mean? You're not doing that to us. So we came to a settlement. The game continued, and A Butter goes crazy in the second overtime, and we win. Fat Joe takes A Butter, and you know, Fat Joe always had a mob with him. Them niggas, they took him into the car and took him up to Jimmy's Cafe in the Bronx. Like, he wanted to know Adrian. And this is what I mean. Like, you know, there's a lot of competition, and a lot of people, you know, they didn't love the way Adrian was getting all that attention. He really turned into a rock star. But then we wound up losing the chip the next day, and then we won the chip the following year. Adrian goes crazy in the championship. Lenny Cook. Now we got Lenny Cook on the team, and Lenny Cook is the one who made the game-winning shot at the end.
Shout out to Lenny Cook, man.
That's my man.
One of them guys. One of them ones.
Lenny Cook. You know that documentary they did on him?
Yeah.
Lenny Cook. I got a job at LaSalle High School. I was assistant coach at LaSalle High School. When I walked through the door, I don't know Lenny Cook exists. But I see these 2 6'6" dudes. Lenny Cook, and a kid named Rodney Epperson. Right? 6'6". Rodney Epperson could shoot the hell out of the basketball. And we had them at LaSalle. I'm like, damn, look at what I walked into. And Lenny, I wound up taking Lenny to 55th. And you know, the first year, I have so much information that never made that documentary. No one asked me, but I got real vital information about what happened with Lenny Cook, why things went the way they went.
Right.
By the book.
Hey man, when they come out, I'm gonna be the first one online for that.
By the book.
I'll be the first one.
I got real information because I was at LaSalle and I saw everything happening right in front of me. You understand? I saw some stuff. Okay.
I mean,
going back to Joe. Going back to Joe. We beat them the first 4 times we played them. 4 straight times we beat them. And then Joe loaded up for the day before the blackout game. Joe came stronger than he ever came. And, you know, Joe took my players. Joe took, he took Adrian, kidnapped Adrian, right? He took Adrian, he took Lamar and Charles, and he took Lenny Cook, all off of my team. Now, we played them the next year. And even though he took all my players and he's loaded, we still beat them during the season with my backups. Okay. We beat them with antifreeze. We beat them with Elijah Muldrow.
Joakim Noah.
No, Joe Kim wasn't with us yet.
Okay, okay.
But we beat them. But then when that semifinal came the day before the blackout game, Joe loaded up, and we just were not on their level. We had Kurt Stinson too. We had Julius Hodge. Okay, so we had a nice young squad, and we made it to the semis. But that time, Joe was too strong, and that's when Joe took over 55th. You understand? That's when they won like 3 straight chips.
Hey, that's what that's you gotta kind of tap pat yourself on the back because that's pretty much your roster. It's sort of like Mark Jackson and the Golden State Warriors a little bit.
Right.
They
That's right.
you know what I'm saying? But
That's right.
but yeah, man, you coach other guys like I just mentioned, Joakim Noah, Danny Green, both
Yes.
NBA talents.
He's
And
playing tonight, by the way.
yeah,
That's why we couldn't get him.
right, absolutely, man. But you coach so many guys, man, and from the look of all of these comments, and the comments on the post is more like you a teacher more about life, and you know what I'm saying, and it was more like a family situation with you, man. So more people, these guys respect you for what I'm saying, they just respect you for the person that you are first, and not even talking about basketball yet. You know what I'm saying? And basketball teaches lessons,
I
by
love them. They know I love them. They know I'm
right.
crazy about them.
You got
Um,
to. You gotta be. But you know what I'm saying? And I definitely want to be respectful of your time. We at the hour mark right now, but you
I'm
know what I'm
good.
saying? I could go for hours, man.
We
But
could go to next week. That's how much
absolutely,
that's how much God blessed me. You understand?
absolutely.
Understand that all good things come from God. Okay? People need to understand that.
Right.
When I had Yoda and I lost Yoda, God gave me Danny Torado real fast. Took no time at all. When I lost Yoda's brother, Marquis Program, who was one of the best little guards ever in New York City basketball, when I lost Marquis Program, God gave me Shandu McNeil. You understand? And
Marquis' daughter actually just won the national championship,
you're
right?
kidding me. Yeah?
Yeah, her daughter.
No idea.
I'm bugging. I'm gonna find a name. I'm gonna find a name for you, but like I want to definitely take some time out real quick, Tony, to shout out my guy and your nephew, Kev, aka Chef. Chef, Chef and I, he's a good friend of mine out of Millbank. Shout out to the whole Millbank family.
Yeah.
Shavon Glover, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Everybody that's on that side, shout out
Shay
to the
is
Millbank
family.
family, right? So tell me a little bit about your relationship with Kev, and tell me how he inspired you, and still inspires you over the course of this basketball career of yours.
Okay. Say that one more time. I kind of got caught with the comments.
No, I was saying that Kev was a good friend of
Oh,
mine.
Kev. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kev. The
Kev is a
chef of
good
the
friend of
future.
mine, and
We
I just
named
want,
him.
yeah. How
We
did he
named him.
inspire you?
Huh?
How does he inspire you? And you know what I'm saying, like,
First
and
of
tell me
all,
a little bit
I
about your relationship.
I still haven't accepted that he's gone to this day. I look at his picture every single day. Kev was one of my favorite point guards ever. And I'm gonna tell you why. Um, Kev was overweight, even young. He was overweight. He was playing with a stomach. Um, but he was always learning. He played in Stone Gym when he was 4 years old for me. We put him on the team, 4 years old, 12 and under, 10 and under. Uh, um, but Kev developed. Okay, Kev got better. I put the ball in his hands in terms of, I realized this kid is something. Um, so Kev is one of the few guys that has a following. A following meaning Kev had 25 dudes from Drew Hamilton Projects at all of his games. When we played the Millbank, we playing at Millbank and Holcomb Rucker, and the place is packed with 25 of Kev's best friends. They all love the heck out of the Chef of the Future. My brother just put something up. They all love the hell out of Kev. And so I had Kev and I had a kid named Elijah Muldrow, right? Who was like a son to us, who is like a son to us. So I had Kev, I had Elijah, I had a kid named Sean Simmons from Kennedy High School, and Big Sam from Kennedy High School, and a kid from Scanlon named Conyo. It'll come back to me. Mike Conyo. Anyway, so we turned into a glove. I had 5 kids who turned into a glove. We could have had anybody coming off our bench with that 5 that we had. The funny part is that Kev was overweight and Sam was overweight. So we couldn't play man-to-man against anybody. And Kevin was playing against Dre Barrett, Marvin McCullough. Shout out to Marv. Marv is my dude.
Shout out to Marv. Hello.
Marvin McCullough. A bunch of top guards. So Kev went to Mount St. Michael, and he would go try out with Mount St. Michael. He got cut his freshman year. He got cut his sophomore year. And, he's looking at me like, I don't believe this, but it's the guy was hung up with how he looked, how his body looked.
Right.
So you can't have him on your Mount St. Michael team, who I don't respect to this day, right? You can't play Kev. You can't have him on the team, but he's out playing some of the best guards in the city, playing for me in the summer leagues. You understand? Right. We had a rivalry with Abyssinian, Kendall, Roscoe, and they had Kurt. They had Kurt Stinson. I don't know. Tracy was able to get Kurt Stinson playing with them. So they had a squad. Chef would go to the cup, lay the hell out of somebody with his big body. The audience would go crazy. The buzz was crazy. Kev would do this repeatedly. Bleep and one. Bleep and one. Alley-oops to Elijah. You understand? And so what made me so proud is we hardly ever lost. That team hardly ever lost. And it was Kev playing against the city's best. The game that Adrian went off at City College against Dre Barrett and Kenny Satterfield, Kev was our point guard. And I understand you know him well.
Yeah, that's my guy, man. So, I mean, I definitely wanted to take a opportunity to talk about Kev because he left us too soon. Definitely too soon, man. R.I.P. my man Kev, aka Chef. I had made a mistake. Your bro corrected me. Marquis Poole's daughter wanted Chip at LSU. You talking about Marquis Pilgrim? So
yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that correction.
Thanks, Rob.
But yeah, man, Tone. Lastly,
shout out to Kateri.
Yeah, Kateri Poole. But yeah, I wanted to you know what I'm saying, and trying to wrap it up a little bit, man, because we've been here for a little bit, but I want to ask you a question, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, in your opinion, what are some of the most important life lessons that you feel that basketball could teach young athletes?
It's so many. It's just so many. When you coach kids, you can really shape their lives. You understand? Like, we get in a circle before practice, middle of practice, end of practice, and we talk about putting both feet in the circle. Okay? You got one foot in, you got one foot out, you're gonna get half-ass results. You put both feet in that circle, and whatever you do in life, it could be basketball, it could be in the classroom, Monday to Friday. We always talk about Monday to Friday. You understand? Like I tell my kids, just like I spoke to your little son. I tell my kids, you gotta be top number one in your class, or you gotta be top five in your class. You understand? All you got to do is look around the classroom and see kids playing around all over the place. And right there, you got the edge. You understand? But the life lessons, they don't stop coming. You can do so much when you coaching kids the right way. A lot of people coach just to stack teams. Like, get out of here. You're not doing nothing. You're not helping nobody. You understand? Uh, um, and people actually give these people props. No, no, no. You're not helping. You just want to win. You understand? You just want to press and win basketball games. But are you really teaching them anything? No. Basketball, football, baseball, you know, it's an incredible platform. We're talking about platforms. This is an incredible platform to help raise a child in basketball. My players, there's something about Mustangs. Mustangs are all over the world doing well. You understand? When I see a Mustang always looks good, looks strong. Talk about the right things. You understand? So it's just so many things, man. And put God first. I have to reiterate, everything I've ever gotten, God gave me. I was a natural baseball player, basketball player, and football player. Quite frankly, I was a damn killer as a young kid. You understand? Uh, um, and it took me to grow up to realize that none of that was me. That was just God put something in you so that you can be natural. You understand? Because he has a plan for you. You understand? So, but people get gifts and they spit all over it. You understand? They do nothing with their lives. Uh, um, so I can tell you that is just so important that kids are taught correctly. Most kids are not. Most players are not. This AAU circuit is just a circus. Instead of circuit, they should call it circus. You understand? Because everybody's bouncing around here, there, and they're losing on the finer points. You understand? I hope I answered your question.
You did, man. And yo, you don't understand, you know what I'm saying? The admiration that I have for you, my man. You know what I'm
Thank you.
saying? I really respect you as a man first,
Thank
as a basketball coach second. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey, giving me the
you.
chance
My
to
pleasure.
you know what I'm saying, to really talk to you, man. And like you said, man, we can go for weeks and talk about this game that we both love so much.
Yes.
I grew up just hearing about your name, man, and now I'm getting a chance to really, sit here and talk to you. I've been, pretty much talking to you for the past couple of days, and it's been
It's been fun.
incredible. It's been incredible for me, man, because it's like a something that growing up you just never imagine yourself just having, being respected on this level with guys that you've seen, on the mountaintop before. So, thank you for showing me that respect. And again, man, basketball teaches so many lessons that the classroom, that these teachers can't teach, man.
Oh yeah.
And you
I
all,
see it every day.
and
I see it
you
every day.
and you were sent, man. You were sent. You God given talent to inspire the youth, as well as these as well as men through basketball, man. So with that, man, we're gonna wrap this up, man. And like I said, man, there's so many people, man. Look, that you inspired. Your fundamental conversations are cherished by both of my boys. The circle, you are more than a coach to them. You're their mentor. You know what I'm saying?
Trish,
Like,
Resto, Milo, love y'all.
you know
That's
what I'm
my
saying?
family. I get to see them every Saturday.
So, man, God bless you, man, your family. You know what I'm saying? May God bless your future endeavors, man. And again, thank you for joining me, man. I really appreciate it.
Likewise. Can I mention one more person?
Of course, man. You can do anything you want.
Mike Johnson. Mike Johnson. My brother Charlie been asking me to mention Mike Johnson. Park West High School. We had him 12 and under. Mike turned into a killer. He wound up at Hawaii Pacific for whatever reason, and he lives in the Philippines, I believe. But Mike Johnson is one of those guys. He played with Big Strick at Park West. Okay, may Strick rest in peace. That was our guy too. But Mike Johnson is one of the most underrated players in New York City basketball history. Mike Johnson was from our project. So one day we're in the park, and it's at nighttime, everybody playing ball, and Mike tells us we're about to play in Golden Hoops. The next night, we're representing Madison Broncos. Okay, Mike Booger was he said to all of us, he said, "I'm gonna get 5 dunks tomorrow. I'm gonna get 5 dunks tomorrow." In the Golden Hoops game, we playing Young Life. Mike wound up getting 5 dunks. You understand? With Danny Torado hitting them off. Danny Torado is a superstar. May he rest in peace. Danny Torado is the best Puerto Rican guard I've ever seen. Eddie Rivera went to St. Ray's. Eddie Rivera sent Paul Pierce, Rafe LaFrance, and Jacques Vaughn home in the second round in the NCAA tournament, playing for the UTEP Miners. Eddie Rivera was a badass Puerto Rican point guard. Okay, I don't know Paul Pierce, but I know he was crying that night. Okay, I just wanted to plug those two. Those are 2 hell of a players. Okay, in our history. So I don't know where Eddie Rivera is, but I never forgot him.
I hope that he gets the chance to watch this, and that, you know what I'm saying, it brings joy to his life, man. That he's still remembered out here in these streets for his accomplishments.
He played with Chuck Martin at St. Ray's. Chuck Martin, definitely with Chucky Martin, the coach at Kentucky. So shout out to Chucky. Chucky, if you find Eddie Rivera, tell him I love him. Thank you, Cal.
Yo, Tone, it's been a pleasure, man. Thank you so much, brother.
Amen.
And, yo, these stories were incredible. I'm sure everybody that tapped in, man, is gonna feel the same way, man. And hopefully we can
more.
Connect. I know. We're gonna tap in again. But you know what I'm saying?
Buy the book.
We're gonna get that book, man. I'm gonna share it on the platform. I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do to enhance that book. We go get some sales. And we gonna do it, man. And when I touch down in the city, man, I wanna connect with you. You know what I'm saying? I want to connect with you. You know what I'm saying? Grab a bite to eat, something,
Yes,
man.
Yes.
Everybody that comes on board, on my platform, y'all family now. So you know what I'm saying? Like, consider.
I feel the same way, Kyle.
No doubt, man.
God bless you and your family.
Much love, champ.
Thank you, everybody.
Love you, bro.
Love you too.
Peace, man.
Amen.